Iskcon BBT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srila Sadigura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinatha Shama Kundara Bhakti Gira Govardhana ki jai. Mathura Dama ki jai. Navadvip Dama ki jai. Mayapur Dama ki jai. Jagannath Dama ki jai. Jagannath Swami ki jai. Vrindavana Dama ki jai. Envin Mai ki jai. Tulsi Mahani ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Gaura Premananda. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Gaura Premananda. All glories to some devotees, all glories to some devotees, all glories to Shri Guru Granth. You also cannot sing, Radha Govinda, no?
Sorry?
You also cannot sing, alright?
No, I'm not a good singer.
I tried so many years. Not successful.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, very good.
Once when I was relatively new back, that was some funny story. Because we used to go every day on Harinam, actually with Krishna Premi. And then, we had to sing, they went from one to one, and then it came to my tour, so I had to sing. So the only song anyways is Radha Madhava. And normally, when we were having Harinam, people were kind of going, they don't come so near us. This is Sweden. It's why we didn't have so much COVID. Everybody's just, there was no mask or anything. Anyway, so I was singing, and for me it was very difficult in the middle of the winter and everything. Yeah. And then actually people start to give money. And then when we went back in the Sankirtan van, I was saying that, they're giving money because they were sorry for me, because I sing so bad. And I was actually feeling like, no, it was very transcendental, this is why they give money. We went on quarreling in the Sankirtan van. I've been in the temple maybe 1 month or so, but I never forgot this. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 It's not my song. So today is the appearance day of Lord Nityananda, and since Lord Nityananda is the source of all creation, it's going to be very difficult for me to say something about him because his glories are basically indescribable. But I was thinking we take a little bit of help here. There is one book which is written by Vrindavan Das Thakur, which is called Nityananda Charitamrita, and which you maybe know. There is two books about Lord Nityananda, Nityananda Bhagavata and Nityananda Charitamrita. And here in the purport there is a very, very nice text written by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, which maybe for us who are not English speakers, it's like a little bit old language, but we'll try. So this starts like this. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung Hena Nitai Bine Bhai Radha Krishna Paitenai. Without the mercy of Lord Nityananda, no one can attain Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. The ultimate goal of life is the attainment of Krishna Prema, or love for God. This is possible only by the mercy of Sadhu and Guru. Shri Nityananda Prabhu is the sum total of all Gurus. Indeed, he is Guru Tattva. All individual Gurus are representations of Shri Nityananda. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta wrote the following text in the Harmonist magazine about the manifestation of Guru as the representation of Shri Nityananda. And now it starts here, the text by His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. The Guru is the embodiment of the manifestation of divinity to the pure, receptive spiritual essence of the disciple. Nityananda is the primary manifestative constituent of the divinity, which I translate in normal English as like the first manifestation of the Supreme Personality of God. Nityananda alone possesses the distinctive function of the Guru. In Nityananda, the function is embodied. Nityananda is the servant God. He serves Sri Gaurasundara by the distinctive method of reverential servitude. He is identical with Sri Balaram of Krishna Lila. Sri Balaram is not a chum.
He's not a
Chum.
chum.
Yeah.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Chum, I actually looked at the etymology of this word. It means chamber fellow. Somebody who was sharing room with, like a friend, a comrade.
Chum.
You knew this.
I know the word chum, but it seems out of place, but it has an historical.
It's like comrade.
Comrade, like a friend, like a buddy.
A body,
Yeah.
like dude. Okay.
Chamber, room, fellow.
Oh.
You share room with.
Oh, that's the origin of the word chum.
Yeah.
Okay.
It took like chi from chamber and fellow.
Okay.
So he's not the chum of Krishna, but his respected elder brother. It is an intimate relationship characterized by becoming reserved on one side and of respectful deference on the other. Individual souls, so just like this sentence, individual souls are under the direction of Nityananda, all the living entities. Nityananda's energy. They receive their service of Sri Gaurasundara or Krishna at his hands. So Lord Nityananda hands out the service. Nityananda is not a jiva, he is divinity. So he means the Supreme Lord. He is the ultimate source of the jiva. The jiva is the potency of Nityananda. No jiva can be the medium of the service of the Absolute to another jiva. This means a living entity, a jiva soul cannot actually introduce anybody to devotional service unless, he's doing that by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. The Absolute alone may communicate his service to the separable constituents of himself. That's us. This is the real nature of the function of the Guru. But Nityananda does not directly instruct in the confidential service of Krishna. Srimati Radhika is the guru of the inner circle of the servants of Krishna. Srimati Radhika, however, accepts the offer of service of only those souls who are especially favored by Nityananda and are deemed by him to be fit for her service. There is, therefore, a most intimate relationship between the function of Nityananda and that of Srimati Radhika, which is at once supplementary to and inclusive of the former. This is a little bit more. But all jivas are not liable to be eclipsed by the deluding potency. That means not all jivas come to this material world and fall under the prey of Maya. Those who are so liable are again distinct from the eternal free jivas. The eternal free jivas are inseparable associates of Nityananda. They are integrated parts and parcels of himself. They never fall into the clutches of Maya. When Nityananda manifests his appearance on the mundane plane, his inseparable constituents also appear in his company. They sometimes manifest their function on this lower place in a visible form on the errands of Nityananda. I think what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is referring to here is the associates of the Lord who come with him.
What is the word? Errands?
Errands.
Errands.
Yeah.
Errands. Right.
It means like tasks, no?
Mm-hmm.
In Portuguese you also say
Tasks.
no?
Task.
Errands, no? Errands, no? You don't say in Portuguese also, no? Fazer, como é que se chama? I give up Portuguese. Errands. It's to make the tasks of the Lord, I think. Or?
Errands, like if you run errands, you go and you buy things and you go somewhere and do jobs.
Simple. In Portuguese, there is no expression in Portuguese.
No.
Errands, no.
Running errands. I have to go and run some errands. Yeah. No, there's no such word.
No, we don't have.
No.
We have to explain, but
So it's like doing things, two things.
Doing things.
Mas só vou fazer uma coisa e outra.
Some simple things.
Right. So can you read that last sentence?
Yeah, please. His inseparable constituents also appear in his company. They sometimes manifest their function on this lower place in a visible form on the errands of Nityananda. So these eternal liberated entities, they also come to this material world in order to fulfill the tasks.
That means like
Order.
service.
Yeah.
Doing some service.
Yeah. To love Nityananda. Because love Nityananda's mission is like to liberate all living entities. So, no. You know, I don't have internet here. Okay, now. They are Vaishnavas whose subordination to Nityananda is natural and ingrained in their nature. It is not necessary for such souls to undergo the process of enlightenment for being restored to the spiritual plane, because they come from the spiritual plane. Unless this fact is borne in mind, the conditioned soul may be tempted to undervalue the constant guidance of the Guru on the hypocritical plea of following in the footsteps of eternally free pure devotees. I didn't get this one. Unless this fact is borne in mind, the conditioned soul may be tempted to undervalue the constant guidance of the Guru on the hypocritical plea of following in the footsteps of the eternal free pure devotees. Do you understand this? I didn't get this.
It's like if we are not sincere, we can think that the Guru isn't necessary. So it's like we undervalue his importance.
No.
Because we are hypocrites, pretending that we are devotees.
I mean, what I can get out of this is that the spiritual master doesn't belong to the material energy. And if we think that the spiritual master is under the spell of the material energy, then, then this is some kind of hypocritical following of the spiritual master, not sincere.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I got out of this. Those, therefore, who suppose that deliverance from the bondage of this world would be practicable without the constant guidance of the spiritual preceptor, confound the conditional state with the free. And then Srila Bhaktisinoda goes on, there is no difference between Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. So, Lord Nityananda, he is known by many names. Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Raya also. Raya is Bengali for Raja, Maharaj.
Right.
In many places, even in Chaitanya, it is Nityananda Raya. And Lord Nityananda is no different from Lord Balaram. Lord Balaram is the first expansion of the Supreme Personality of God, it's the first expansion of Krishna. And as we read here, basically everything that exists is under his supervision. He expands, there is this 5 main expansions, Mahasankashan, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashay Vishnu, Kshirakashay Vishnu, and Sankashan, who manage the spiritual and the material world, which is for us practically inconceivable. One thing which I always found interesting is that the first expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a servant. We have been residing in this material world for very long. We have some kind of almost automatic reaction, aversion to being servants. Like sometimes, I remember at least in my family when I was small, we asked somebody, "Oh, my brother, can you bring me this book? I'm not your servant." He would say, and I would say the same thing to him. I'm not your servant, you do it yourself. But this is very interesting because the Supreme Lord, in his first expansion, first doesn't mean in time-wise because all these forms are eternal. But in this first expansion is a servant. So Lord Nityananda is actually expanding himself in the form of, the 5th form was not Sankashan, it was actually Anantashesha. In the form of Anantashesha, Lord Nityananda is actually creating everything which Lord Krishna needs, I would not say to exist, but to function. So like the dhoti of Lord Krishna, the shoes of Lord Krishna, the flute of Lord Krishna, all these things which Krishna has, they are not of material energy, they are completely transcendental, and they are actually expansions of Lord Nityananda. It's not that Krishna's dhoti gets old after many washes. It doesn't have to be washed. It is composed of spiritual energy, and it's Satchidananda, all these different items which surround the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are also from his nature, from the same nature, and they manifest themselves through Lord Balaram, which is Lord Nityananda. Specifically here in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, because Lord Nityananda is related with Lord Chaitanya in his pastimes, Lord Nityananda appeared also in this capacity of being a servant. And this capacity manifested in many different ways. One way was actually he was assisting Lord Chaitanya in spreading the Sankirtan mission. everybody who has been connected with Sankirtan mission knows that nothing will happen without the mercy of Lord Nityananda. So Lord Nityananda, he's a little bit older, like the same way as Balaram, a little bit older. I think in this case it's like 10, 12 years. 1474, when was Lord Chaitanya born?
86. 1486.
So it's
12 years.
12 years, yeah, 12 years of difference. So, and he was not actually meeting Lord Chaitanya or doing anything until he became actually a little bit older. Because Lord Nityananda, he lived in the house of his parents. It's in a place which is called Ekachakra, which is actually now has been taken over. The temple has been offered to Iskcon. Bhaktivedanta Charity Trust has taken over it and renovated. It's in the district of Birbhum, so it's in Radhadesh, a little bit north of Mayapur. I don't know if I think it's north. I'm always disoriented in Mayapur because you go around the Ganges, I never know the place. But this is district of Birbhum, I think it is north. And his parents were Hadayoja and Padmavati. And as it is explained here by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, this is not normal conditioned souls, but these are eternal liberated souls who come with the Supreme Lord when the Supreme Lord comes to this material world. So we know from the pastimes of Lord Krishna that these relationships between Krishna's devotees, in this case his parents, and Krishna, they are very, very intensive.
They're very
intensive.
intense.
You know, like maybe we all know how much an anxiety our mother was when we were small. Always giving advice and making sure we don't get in trouble, and always wondering where we were. At least when I was young in Portugal, you finished school at 1 o'clock, you ate lunch, you came back home 7, 8. There was no mobile phones, nobody knew where we were. So mother, Padmavati, the mother of Lord Nityananda, and his father Hadayoja, they were very, very attached to Lord Nityananda. We cannot even understand or describe this deep attachment. But one day, they received the Brahmana, and they made this great mistake. My dear Brahmana, sannyas, anything in our house you need, just take it. And this Brahmana, which is actually, this Brahmana is related to the family of Vishnu Priya, if I understand, if I remember properly. There is some relation between this Brahman and Lord Chaitanya, his family. So he said, no, I don't need anything, but it would be very nice if this boy comes with me. You're a little boy. Otherwise I have no needs, but I'm a traveling sannyasi, so the parents immediately collapsed. They had made this offer. I always think about this when I have guests. What can I offer? So I don't have to faint afterwards. So they gave the boy, Nityananda, was actually their only joy, and actually Hadayoja passed away very quickly due to separation. And then Lord Nityananda traveled with this sannyas to all the holy places. Actually, a little bit similar like what Lord Balarama did when there was the battle of Kurukshetra. He didn't want to be involved in all these politics and intrigues, and he just went around to all the holy places just to get some distance from things. And then after this, so he must have been like around 30, I would say. Maybe a little bit low, but around that age. Then he came actually to Navadvip for the first time after these pilgrimages, and he went to the house of Nandanacharya, devoted Lord Chaitanya. And of course, Lord Chaitanya, being the Supreme Personality of God, no different from Lord Nityananda, he knew exactly what was going on. So he sent Haridas Thakur and Srinivasacharya to look for Lord Nityananda. So they went around knocking on all the doors. So Nityananda here. Then, so Lord Nityananda was a little bit funny. And this was going on for some time. It's not described how long. But the Lord Chaitanya just got tired and waiting and went to the house of Nandanacharya. And there was Lord Nityananda. And this meeting was just like the spiritual energy in this meeting, which is described in the different scriptures. It was just what word shall I use? Just amazing. And then from that time on, Lord Nityananda, he, considering himself the servant of Lord Chaitanya, he started to assist Lord Chaitanya in his mission. I think that one thing which is very interesting with this relationship between Balaram and Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda is like Balaram and Lord Nityananda, they are the servants. But at the same time, Krishna, he is their junior. So they are the servants, but Krishna is very, how do you say, very thankful to them and very surrendered to them. So I think this is a very interesting thing for me always, how the Supreme Personality of God is always so thankful for any service that the devotee does. Of course, in this case, it's not a devotee, it's Lord Nityananda, but somebody who is serving him. Krishna is ready to do anything for that person. And actually, I mean, sometimes we think we have so many faults. At least the devotee should think like that. We have so many faults. But in the Nectar of Devotion, Krishna says, I don't see the faults of my devotees. I just see the service. Especially if you have been a temple president, everybody knows you have so many faults. They're always pointing all the faults to you. And of course, we all have so many faults. But Krishna doesn't see those faults. He's thankful. Anything which is offered in devotion, Krishna accepts, and he's eternally thankful. So the Supreme Personality of God is not ungrateful. So I think this is very interesting, that the servant is actually at the same time the elder and the Supreme Personality of God who is being served. He's also at the same time a little bit, I don't know the English word, I mean he's junior, but he's a little bit not below. Subordinate, exactly, that word I was looking for. Subordinate to Lord Nityananda. And of course, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they have many, many pastimes together. Actually, very funny, you know, that I mean, there's a few ones which I remember. There is many, but a few ones I remember. There was once that Mother Sachi invited Lord Nityananda to eat, and Lord Chaitanya and another devotee went to get Lord Nityananda and to invite him for lunch. And then they came, and on the way, Lord Chaitanya was telling him, now, I mean, you are always very restless. So now when you come to our house, you behave nicely, okay? And Lord Nityananda said, you think everybody is crazy like you, mad? No, I'm going to behave very nicely. And he went to the house and he behaved very nice. Probably if Lord Chaitanya didn't tell him, you would probably do something. But this is one nice pastime. There is another pastime where they were joking in the house of Advaitacharya and the house of Srinivas. He went to Srinivas and Lord Chaitanya went to Srinivas and said, I mean, why do you keep this Nityananda here? I mean, he's not married, he's not unmarried, he's not a sannyas. I mean, nobody knows from where he comes. I mean, what is this? You want to ruin your reputation? He told Srinivas. And Srinivas said, you know, I don't care. You know, even if I lose all my reputation, I will take care of Lord Nityananda. Because Lord Nityananda used to come to the house of Srinivas, and because Lord Balaram, Lord Nityananda is no different from Balaram, so sometimes he was in this mood that he's a cowherd boy or a little boy. And when he came to the house of Srinivas, there was Srinivas' wife Malini. She had to feed him because he will not eat. So she had to take the spoon and feed him. And Lord Chaitanya said, I mean, you have a grown-up man here, what is this? It's ridiculous. He should eat by himself. But anyway, this was their exchanges. There is also once Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda and Advaitacharya, they were taking prasadam together, and Lord Chaitanya said, Advaita, you're going to lose all your Brahminical qualifications by having this man here. So there is this very interesting pastimes. Another pastime which Lord Nityananda is, I mean, Lord Nityananda, a little bit like Balaram, I mean, we always try to understand God logically, even if it's not possible. But, okay, let's say like in the pastimes of Lord Krishna, you have this Duryodhana, you know, Dhritarashtra, and you have the battle of Kurukshetra, and normally all devotees are on the side of Krishna. Because, I mean, the other people, they are horrible, they are touching the devotees, you know, they don't follow Dharma, they insulting Draupadi, I mean, they did all these things, so all devotees are on the side of Krishna and Arjuna. But somehow, Lord Balaram was friend with Duryodhana. Who can understand that? Not possible. But this just shows us a little bit the infinity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and how actually we are not able to understand even the basic pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Very difficult to understand. I mean, how could it be that you know, that Krishna thinks in one way and Balaram thinks in another way? So we see this a little bit, not in the same extent, but a little bit also in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, but they are more humorous. There is also this other interesting pastime that they were on the way from Navadvip to Jagannath Puri, and they were walking, and Lord Chaitanya had his danda. And I don't know, I never wore a danda, but it seems like a very troublesome thing. You always have to have this stick with you, and you cannot, you know, a little bit impractical. So Nityananda got fed up and said, I mean, what's this stick? So he just, when Lord Chaitanya was bathing, he just broke it to pieces. And of course, we should understand that this danda, you know, in the same way as the dhoti of Krishna and the garland of Krishna and everything, and Krishna's shoes, everything which Krishna surrounds Krishna, it's pure spiritual, an expansion of Lord Balaram. Anyway, Lord Chaitanya became very angry with Lord Nityananda and said, you stay here, you know, I'm just going along to Jagannath Puri. And he did that, but then Lord Nityananda followed after, and they went all together to Jagannath Puri. Then in Jagannath Puri, what was also very interesting, and it shows a little bit this aspect of how Lord Nityananda assisted Lord Chaitanya in spreading the Sankirtan movement, is that Lord Chaitanya advised Nityananda to go back to Bengal together with Haridas Thakur, and just to introduce everybody to the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, to engage everybody in Harinam and to do Sankirtan, which they did very quickly. They went back to Bengal from Jagannath Puri, and they started to engage in this preaching mission. And of course, because Lord Nityananda was very humorous and very often in the mood of a child, he did many funny things there, even when they were preaching. I have read certain descriptions, I don't know if they are true, that Lord Nityananda would bathe and chase crocodiles in the Ganges. There was obviously crocodiles in those days. So he would run after them. Everybody's running away from them. But he would chase crocodiles. He's the Supreme Lord. So. And there is also these famous pastimes of Jagai and Madai and many other preaching adventures. They were going Navadvip. I mean, we think sometimes that preaching in the West is very difficult. But preaching in Navadvip was not easy because there was this Smarta Brahmanas, and they were very rigid. Probably even more rigid than the people here in the West. Because they may become attracted, by prasadam, by kirtan, by reading the books, by philosophy, but these brahmanas, they were just completely sealed. So it was not an easy mission. But they performed that mission. Another thing which is very important, and which is maybe related to us, is that Lord Nityananda, he took care of Jiva Goswami. So Jiva Goswami, his father died when he was quite young, and then his uncles, Shilrupa and Shisanatana Goswami, they went to Vrindavana, so he was kind of alone. And then, because in those days Lord Chaitanya had already left, he went to Navadvip to meet Lord Nityananda. And actually Lord Nityananda gave him these very important orders to compile and systematize all the Vaishnava philosophy. So Jiva Goswami, he wrote the Sandarbhas, and there is 6 Sandarbhas in which he systematizes the Vaishnava philosophy. He explains, first of all, Tattva Sandarbha, how Tattva means truth, how can we find out what is the truth? From observation, from Shastra, of course, conclusion is Shabda, by Shastra, by hearing. Then he defines the characteristics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He explains about the Paramatma, he explains Bhakti, he explains how to execute devotional service. But the difference is that everything is taken from Bhagavatam, but is systematized. And sometimes when you see these books written by Srila Jiva Goswami, I mean, now you can go on the internet and you can find anything. But he's quoting, from Puranas, from Samhitas, from Itihasas, from here and there, while living in the forest in Vrindavan. You can imagine the accomplishment of these devotees. But so Lord Nityananda, of course, he knew the potency of Srila Jiva Goswami, so he instructed him, and he spent actually a lot of time with him. And this is actually one of my favorite books. Oh, I have it here. And actually I brought this with me. Navadipa Mahatmya. This is a pilgrimage of Navadipa Dhamma by Lord Nityananda, and he is leading Jiva Goswami to these different holy places. This book is completely ecstatic. And Lord Nityananda explains about the different places, what happened, which places correspond to Vrindavana, which places have very long history. It's a very, very beautiful book. For devotees.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
It's written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, exactly. The Glories of Shiva Navadvipa Dhamma. And this is actually the pilgrimage. Lord Nityananda is leading this pilgrimage and explaining everything to Jiva Goswami. And Jiva Goswami is fainting everywhere. He goes to one place, Lord Nityananda explains something, he faints. And then he goes to another place, he also faints. Because sometimes we wonder, why is in the Lord Chaitanya's pastimes everybody's fainting? It's because, the material body sometimes cannot, cannot accommodate all these spiritual emotions. So Lord Nityananda is very much connected with us, of course, and for anybody who wants to be engaged in the Sankirtan mission, it's very important to establish a connection with Lord Nityananda. How do we establish connection? By service, by praying, by executing the 9 processes of devotional service, and also by studying the mission of Lord Nityananda, the mission of Lord Chaitanya. So for us it's very important because as it is explained also in one of the books of Srila Prabhupada, which is a very wonderful book, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is this pastime with the author of Sri Chaitanya Amrita, Krishna Das Kaviraj. So Krishna Das Kaviraj was once, he was in his home, somewhere in Bengal, I don't remember. And then it came some Brahmana. And that Brahmana said, Lord Chaitanya is very important. Yeah, we should follow Lord Chaitanya, but we should not follow this Nityananda. He's too strange, And then Krishna's Kaviraj's brother became very, very, started to take the side of this Brahmana, and then Krishna's Kaviraj became very upset, and then next day, or during the night, Lord Nityananda appeared to him and said, go to Vrindavana. So he left all of this. But actually there is statements from different acharyas in our Gaudiya Sampradaya, in our from more recent times, where they say that anybody who doesn't accept Lord Nityananda is a demon. It's not a mild statement. So we should take these days, special days, these appearance days of Supreme Personality of Godhead, in order to pray and try to understand and try to somehow get their mercy. In our life, we all have to come to one point where we get the mercy. This should be our focus in devotional service. How can I get the mercy? How can I do something which will attract Krishna, which will make Krishna happy? And if we can do it even once, then we can get the taste and we can make progress in devotional service. Also very interesting, I don't know if I'm going over time. What is your schedule?
No.
Now it's 6:30.
6:30 still okay.
In a couple of minutes more.
Yeah, a couple of minutes more.
I mean, this is also very interesting because the truth about Lord Nityananda is intimately connected with Guru. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta wrote this text here in the beginning, which is really concentrated. I think I need to read it 20 times before I understand what he means. But one thing which is quite clear is that the Guru is the external manifestation of Lord Nityananda. So who connects us with devotional service. And following of the Guru, it's actually a little bit of a mystical process because, I mean, it is said also the Guru is the external manifestation of the Super Soul. So the Super Soul is within our heart and is guiding us and allowing us to do things, is guiding us in life. But when actually come to the point of becoming sincere and wanting to surrender, then the Super Soul appears in front of us in the form of the Guru. And for me, having worked many years in interreligious dialogues, I can just see actually the misfortune of people who don't have a Guru. They want to understand God, they want to do something good for the world, they want to do something good for themselves, for their spiritual life, but they cannot get anywhere. Maybe you have also this experience. You find so many nice people in these interreligious discussions, but they are all under the grips of mental speculation. And somehow for us, we think it's evident that we have Chaitanya Charitamrita. But I mean, who gave that to us? It was Srila Prabhupada. In Srimad Bhagavatam. All the scriptures are there, so we are very fortunate. And Lord Nityananda must give us the strength to make also others fortunate and connect them to Krishna. So this is all I wanted to say. Anyway, I want to say many more things, but we stay here until tomorrow.
Prabhu,
Thank you very much.
Okay.
very small question.
Please.
Do you know how many of the associates of Nityananda or Lord Chaitanya knew that he was God? Some didn't know, right?
I cannot answer that.
Yes.
I mean, like we have here this story of Srinivas. He obviously knew because he said that to Lord Chaitanya, I don't care even if my whole family goes to hell and I lose my Brahminical qualifications, I will still take care of Lord Nityananda like if he was my son. So he obviously knew. So it's a little, I mean, when you're dealing with the pastimes of Lord Krishna, it's very difficult to know who knows what.
Yeah.
I mean, like Mother Yashoda, did she knew her son was God? Maybe a little bit, maybe sometimes she felt it, maybe not.
Yes.
I mean, there's this Yoga Maya in spell, so.
In Vrindavana, nobody knew Krishna, right?
But then occasionally the curtains lifted.
Yeah.
It's like all the demons were killed, and then the elderly cowherd boys were saying, you know, this Krishna, he may be a demigod, but then he said, oh, he may be the supreme personality of Godhead. So they got a glimpse that maybe he's. But then the curtain drops again, and then
it becomes irrelevant. Yeah.
Because Lord Chaitanya manifested to some devotees, right?
Yeah, there is this pastime of Sadbhuja. This pastime when Lord Chaitanya manifested his form as Lord Krishna and Ramachandra.
But I think very few people knew, right?
Yeah, I don't remember that pastime exactly, but it was just a few, yeah. know also what it means to know. Sometimes you know things intuitively. You know, it's not always a conscious logic thought. But I have not read of any of the followers of Lord Chaitanya except these ones in this thing which I described with Krishna's Kaviraj and what is his name? Miniketana Ramdas. Huh? Miniketana Ram. So they're just his pastime. I don't know anybody who actually neglected Lord Nityananda. Of the followers of Lord Chaitanya, I'm not aware of anybody else except this.
Oh, not Miniketana.
Sorry?
No, not Miniketana Ram.
No?
No, I forget his name. No, I was sorry. I was following your train of thought. What was your point?
No, I don't know anywhere in our scriptures except this pastime with Miniketana Ramdas and Krishnadas Kaviraj, where somebody rejected Lord Nityananda. This is the only. Maybe there was something with somebody in Jagannath-puri, I don't know. Could have been one more. But in general, I mean, these devotees, they are Lord Chaitanya's expansions also, in the sense that they are eternal liberated souls. And they come already with the goal.
Jagai and Madhai,
Jagai and Madhai.
They rejected.
Yeah, but they were not exactly eternal associates of Chaitanya.
But then they became Vaishnavas.
They became Vaishnavas. Yeah. By the mercy of Lord Nityananda.
They even have the cyclic succession.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, Prabhu, I just have one brief question, or maybe it can be complex. But you were saying that whoever rejects Lord Nityananda is a demon, you know, or in a sense it's like whoever rejects the spiritual master is a demon. So, but we have instances of devotees that have rejected their spiritual masters.
You mean in modern time or in ancient times?
Like in modern times. I know cases of devotees that have rejected their spiritual masters. I mean, spiritual masters in good standing, and you know, I don't need to give any names or anything, but it's like a common thing, you know. And your statement, you said that whoever rejects.
It's not my statement. It's Srila Bhakti.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, like is a demon. And we have devotees, you know, some of them are considered good devotees, and they completely rejected their spiritual master.
And they are considered good devotees?
I don't know, like socially maybe, or whatever. Maybe socially.
I mean, I don't know what to answer, but the problem is that when we become covered, we try to remove all the hindrances for sense gratification. And what is the greatest hindrance for sense gratification? It's the instruction. Don't engage in sense gratification. And that's personified by the spiritual master. So I think sometimes that is not so deep, you know. It's just like stupidity, I have, you know. Because one has seen this, of course. During the years one has seen, but it's mainly stupidity when it becomes covered by illusion. It could be because of offenses, could be also for an intense desire of sense gratification, or some people are also not ready to surrender. You know, so when they take initiation, they don't know actually what they are doing. I mean, in the old days, it was relatively easy to take initiation. I mean, we took devotees from the Harinam party, we shaved them the same evening. Next morning, they were Mangalarti with a funny dhoti, and sometimes they realized that this is too much, but still they got the mercy, some mercy, and then if they were not inimical, if they just moved away, I mean, there is people who just go away, from the movement, from our spiritual culture, but they don't become inimical. They just understand I'm weak, I cannot do this. And these people, they will pick up devotional service later. But people who actually start to fault find, these people are, I think, demonic. I just, I can tell this. When we have, in Sweden, we still have the Harikesh State Ministry. And it has been some discussion about the state ministry. Are we going to destroy it? There is some devotees who want to keep it. We're still sending them to attach to Harikesh. But then we found an interview of him saying, I never liked what Prabhupada said. Did you see this interview? I can send this to Radha Govinda. He says, I never liked what Prabhupada said. He was mystical. He had very good energy, but I never liked what he said. So, I mean, these tapes, I'm not going to keep them on such a person. So,
you could say that was a moment of stupidity, a moment of foolishness, because the Memories series by Siddhanta, he interviewed Harikesh, recently.
mm-hmm. Who did?
Siddhanta.
Ah, Siddhanta.
Siddhanta Prabhu, yeah.
And,
from Juhu.
No, Siddhanta, he did the whole Memories of all the Prabhupada's disciples.
Okay.
So one of the recent interviews was with Harikesh. I mean, more recent. It's transcribed into volume 5, and there's only 6 volumes. The 6th volume is coming out this year. But you read his realizations, and you can see how he's
moving from here to there.
He's changed, I mean, and I mean, he may not admit what his foolishness, but he's becoming humble.
Okay.
In one sense. So, as you said, you can say so many things, and it apparently looks like rejection, but then after some time, within perhaps in that lifetime, they come back.
We hope.
We hope. I mean, we can hope.
Yeah.
We can hope. There is always hope. We see so many of Prabhupada's early disciples. They went, and some of them left for a long, long period of time, but then they somehow they just came back.
If they are not offensive, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the key.
Yeah.
If you don't become an aparadi.
Yeah.
Then
so there's always hope.
There is always hope. But if you become an aparadi, then you actually have to. You have to get forgiveness from that devotee.
Yeah.
And what you do if that devotee is not present anymore, there is no hope actually, because Vaishnava aparadi is the most serious offense.
That's a good point.
That's right. Because it's kind of interpretation from who looks. For example, I moved out of the temple. I went to university, went to have my life. I was separate from the temple. I was not living there. And a long time I didn't go to the temple, but I never rejected anything. And now other devotees might interpret this as, I'm giving my back to Prabhupada. I never did, and never did, really, So when I came to Portugal, I reconnected because I was not at university anymore. So, it's kind of circumstantial, This happened to many devotees of Srila Prabhupada. I remember in Los Angeles, devotees disappeared. And then they married other women, they had family, they didn't offer boga, prashada, and all sorts of things happening. But rejection, I think, not really rejection. They just drift away, right? And like I did.
Very interesting. I had actually this realization. I heard an interview from Hansadutta Prabhu just shortly before he passed away. He was just speaking about Prabhupada, just praising Prabhupada in all kinds of ways. So I think for such a person, he's still connected, you know. You heard these interviews from Hansudata, very, very nice.
Yeah.
You know, he's just like he never went away, actually. Satisfied?
So maybe we should do the Aratik first, Prabhu?
I don't know. You
And the Kirtan? We do the Aratik first.
I'm going to